What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So season 1.5 has been out for a few days now, and now that I've been able to play it and really get into all the characters, I think I'm finally able to make this tier list and rank all the heroes after the 1.5 update. A lot of characters got nerfed, a lot got buffed, and a bunch of balance changes happened. So some characters are going to be moving up, a lot are going to be moving down. We'll see what happens. But no intro today, we're just going to get right into it. So starting off with the Hulk, I mean, he's still S tier. He's still really good. This guy still gets banned quite a bunch. His team up did get nerfed a little bit. Iron Man isn't as dependent on it anymore, but it's still really good for Doctor Strange. And all around, if you have it on your team, you're most likely going to win anyway. So putting Hulk in the S tier to start. Next up is Magneto, and I think I'm going to put him at the top of A tier. He's not going to move from the top. He's going to stay right there. He could move into S, but we'll see how the video goes. For Magneto, he did get nerfed, but the effects really haven't happened. He's still really, really good, especially in the high elos. He does tons and tons of damage. If you're able to combine your ult fire with your primary fire, you're going to be able to kill any 250 health hero in the game. If you use your ultimate correctly, it's really, really good. If you mix him with the Scarlet Witch, he does even more damage with his extra ability. All around, his survivability is really good as well, and he's a really good hero. Honestly, saying all that, I think I'm just going to move him up now because it feels inevitable at this point. But to start off, we have two S tier tanks. Our third hero is going to be Venom, and I'm going to stick him in the A tier. So with Venom, I think he's really good this season, but you have to really know what you're doing with him because there is a bit of a skill gap. He just does tons of damage. He's super annoying. With the triple support meta kind of dying down, he's coming back up. He's doing crazy things right now. I feel like you have to pair him with the Spider-Man in order to get his full potential, though. So with all that being said, he's an absolute menace. He gets his ult charged pretty fast. He's super annoying to deal with. I don't think he's better than Hulk or Magneto or some of the other tanks I'm going to put in S tier. So I think A tier is a good spot for him at the moment. Okay, so up next is Groot, and if I'm being honest, I think I'll put him in the B tier. I think Groot is still good in the high elos. He is not good at all in the low elos. Not a lot of people know how to use him, but for the people who do know how to use him, he can do tons and tons of damage with his walls, and he offers great spacing. Obviously, his ultimate is really good at forcing other ultimates like a Luna Snow, a Cloak And Dagger, Mantis, and also really good at setting up your team to get tons and tons of kills. He does really good things, and he does them really well. The problem is that he has a really high skill gap, and not a lot of people, like I said, in the lower elos can do those things with him. He might be the worst tank in those elos, but when you get up to past Platinum into Diamond and Grandmaster, he's a menace. So if I'm going to put both of those into consideration, I think right in the middle, in the B tier, is a good spot for him. Okay, so up next is Thor. And Thor, for me, is the opposite of Groot. He's really, really good in the low elos, not as good in the high elos. Just based off of stats. I get mine from Rivals Tracker. I'll leave a link in the description. I think I'm going to leave him in the B tier with Groot. So I'll put him above Groot, though. I think he's better than Groot right now. So with Thor, obviously he got a buff to his damage and to his awakening ability, and he's just a really good off tank. If you have a Thor as your single tank, I don't think that's the best way to do it. But if you pair him up with a normal tank, I think he's really, really good. He does tons and tons of damage. His ult is pretty good. He can just be an absolute menace to anyone that he's going against. So mixing it with the bad and high elo, really good in low elo like Groot, I think B tier is a good spot for him. Now we have Peni Parker, and honestly, she's grown on me a lot. I think she gets disrespected a bunch. I was part of that, but she's not as bad as people say she is. I'm going to put her in the B tier. I used to have her like a D tier, so a bit of an upgrade for her. So obviously, the whole thing with her is her nest. You have to set up your bombs correctly. You have to set up your nest so it's not an easy target. And the longer you have it up, the higher chances of you winning go up. She is really, really good against dive characters. And now that that's becoming the meta, she's a great counter to that. But she is not a good solo tank at all. Just like I said with Thor, you do not want her to be your only tank. it's funny because in the high elos, she, like I said, you don't want her as the solo tank. But if you play low elos, if you play bronze through gold, she's really good down there. And it's funny, I guess people just don't know that they have to destroy the nest. But once you get higher up, people understand her kit. She's a lot easier to counter. But with the new meta being diving, I think she's a really good counter to that. So I'm not going to put her in A or S tier. I still know that she's a good character, not a great character. But I'll give her flowers. B tier is a good spot for her. Now we have Captain America, and I feel like Peni Parker, he gets disrespected a lot. And he got buffed. He's been getting buffs ever since the game came out. And I think they're finally starting to take effect. I know this is another one in the B tier, but I feel like he belongs here. This is the last Vanguard in the B tier. But he's really good right now. He is impossible to kill. This guy is probably the most annoying character in the game right now. So he's now able to use his shield while he's running and jumping, which is a big buff for him. His ult is even better than it was before. Bro, if you have a good Captain America on your team, he is not dying. As long as he's doing the right things and getting healed from time to time, they're not going to be able to kill him. The damage for me isn't there yet. That's why he's in B tier. But he's not really there for damage. He's just there to be an absolute nuisance to the other team. So B tier is a good spot. If it keeps going the way it's going, he's going to be an S tier by the time Season 2 comes out. Now, here's the thing about the Thing. The Thing is really, really good. He obviously is the newest Vanguard in the game, and he's one of the best already. This guy is an absolute bullet sponge. He takes so much damage, and he's able to dish it back out at a pretty consistent rate. His ultimate is pretty good, not the best. His team up with the Fantastic Four is really good. He's able to stay alive longer. He is an absolute menace to the dive characters, which is really good because that's the new meta. All he has to do is charge onto them, and when he slams the ground, they can't run away. So, easy pick'ems for your team. All around, a great addition to the roster. Not on the level of the 3 that I'm going to have on top of him, but he has the chance to be on that same level. Our final Vanguard is going to be Doctor Strange, and this guy is still the best. He's still the best tank in the game right now. This guy has been hit with nerf after nerf from Season 1.5 back to Season 1, and nothing has changed. He is still all around the best tank in the game. He does tons and tons of damage to everyone, to flying characters, diving characters, other tanks. Really good at that. He blocks tons of damage. His ultimate is one of the best in the game at setting up kills and forcing other ultimates. All around, his kit is very, very good, and I don't know what they're going to do to get him down from that top tier spot. They're probably going to have to nerf him again, but what are they going to do when that doesn't work either, you know? So, Doctor Strange, best tank in the game still. Alright, so now we have our first DPS, and that's going to be Black Panther. And I'm going to put him in the C tier. I don't think he's as crazy as he was in Season 1. So, he got nerfed when Season 1.5 came out. His damage did get reducted, and which is weird because he already felt like he wasn't doing enough before. Now, there are some godly Black Panthers. There are some people who play him really, really well. But I feel like it's always the godly ones and then the ones who don't know what they're doing. I've never seen a Black Panther who's like good or okay, you know? It's always the really good ones and the bad ones. There's a high skill ceiling with Black Panther, so I guess that's why. But his kit, it's okay. He can be really annoying to deal with. But man, that damage reduction, it doesn't help that he's called the Tickle Monster. So, all that being said, he's our first C character. Our next hero is going to be Spider-Man. And I'm gonna put Spider-Man in the A tier. I think he's a pretty good hero now. So, obviously, he's a dive character. He's benefiting from the new meta. He is countered pretty easily by a Namor, a Thing, a Winter Soldier, but the main one is Namor. And now that Luna Snow is getting banned almost every game, it's harder for Namor to keep up with him because of the loss of the extra octopus. So, Spider-Man, he does great amounts of damage. He's super annoying to deal with. His ult is pretty good. His team up with Venom is really good. You go in there, pop it, do lots of damage, and just get out. He's super annoying. And with the meta going the way it is, he's benefiting from that. And I think he's a good hero now. So I think A tier is a good spot for him. Up next is Hawkeye. And I'm going to put Hawkeye, I'm going to put him in the B tier for 1.5. If this was the Season 1 update, he'd probably be in D or F tier. This guy got nerfed into the ground. No one was using him anymore, and it made sense. You know, the nerfs hit him pretty hard. But now I think he's in a okay spot. He still does tons of damage. You have to be closer to your target if you want to charge up your meter in order to do more damage. But his kit's okay. He doesn't do well against the dive characters, and now that's becoming the main thing. You gotta add that into consideration as well. So I think B tier is a good spot for him. I'm gonna actually move Captain America up, him up, and put Peni behind him. So Hawkeye, B tier, okay character now, better than he was before. Up next is Iron Fist, and Iron Fist is weird because after all the updates, the buffs, the nerfs, he's not as like, he's a dive character, but he's not like a typical dive character. Like, I feel like he's more tanky, and it's a little weird. He does really good in the really high elos. Like, that's where he thrives. Everywhere under, he's kind of just bad, to be honest, because it does take a lot to really figure him out. But he does a lot of good things as well. He can do tons and tons of damage. He's super annoying to deal with. The meta is shifting in his favor. And if you team him up with Luna Snow, he gets a damage upgrade. So, honestly, he's okay. Like I said, it's a little weird that he is more like a tank now and can just take hits over and over, which is very undive-like, I guess. So I'll stick him in the C tier. I think he's behind Black Panther for now. Up next is Moon Knight, and Moon Knight, man, he got buffed, but I feel like it was bad for him almost. So his ultimate now, the arms that come out, they do a lot more damage, but it's harder to hit your targets with them. They're more spread out. And that's pretty bad for him because he was climbing in the beginning of Season 1 because you were combining him with Groot and getting tons and tons of damage with it and a lot of kills. Now it's going to be a lot harder to deal with that. And obviously the main part of his kit are the unks. You shoot them and it bounces off and does damage. But with diving becoming the main meta now, he's going to struggle against that. No unk means death for every single run. And I think he's going to struggle a lot this second half of Season 1. Honestly, I think I'm going to put him in D tier. I don't think he's as viable as of a pick anymore. And I don't think it's crazy to say that. He's a good character. You can do tons and tons of damage. But with the way that things are going and with the way his ultimate got buffed, I think he goes down into the D tier. Up next is the Punisher. And honestly, there's not a lot to say about him. He is pretty good. He's just very simple, and he does what he does very well, but just not at the elite level, you know, not in the A tier, the S tier level. But he's really, really good. If you're looking for just great damage and for an easy character to use, Punisher is your guy. If you play Call of Duty or any game, you've played Punisher before. So, good kit, tons of damage, nothing special really, but a really solid character. Now we have Black Widow, and man, I feel like they're trying with Black Widow. Like they're trying to make her viable, but it's just not working, man. They gave her an increase to her mag size, so she carries a lot more bullets now, which is good, but it's just, she doesn't do a lot, man. I feel like she doesn't fit in this type of game, which is weird to say because there's so many different characters. There are some really good Black Widows, right? It's like Black Panther. There are really good ones, but not a lot of people use this character anyway. She has some good synergies, like with Invisible Woman, for example. With the ultimate, she can just shoot anyone she wants, and you're not going to be able to see her. So, if you have a good Black Widow on the enemy team, she can be really annoying to deal with, but that's a really slim chance that you're even going to find a Black Widow in general. So, she does a ton of good things. It's just that no one uses her, and with dive becoming the meta, she is cooked. Like, she has no way of escaping with that. So, unfortunately, she's going to have to go in the F tier. Now we have Mr. Fantastic, and man, I wish this character was better, man. I do. I think he belongs in the D tier. Maybe in the C tier, I might move him up. He's pretty good in the low elos. Like, a lot of people like to use him. But man, when you get up high, he is horrible. He is countered super easily. Everyone knows how to deal with him. When you're in the lower elos, no one knows how to deal with him, so he can just do whatever he wants. But man, I feel like he just doesn't have enough, you know? I like his ultimate now. It does a lot more damage. But he just does... I feel like he's missing like something big, you know? Like he does a lot of little things pretty good, but nothing crazy. And I was debating even putting him in the F tier, but I think in the D tier is a good spot for him. Now we have Iron Man, and I thought Iron Man was going to take a massive jump after his buff in season 1.5, because he's not as reliant on the Hulk and Doctor Strange team up as he was before, but he didn't take off like I thought he was going to. I think he's still a decent character, like B tier character. When he's not using overdrive, he's not that good. When he's using it, he's a really good character to use, and his beam still does tons and tons and tons of damage. He can melt almost anybody, but it's only for a short period of time, and when you don't have it and you're waiting for it to come back, you're not doing as much damage. So I think he belongs in the B tier. He has the chance maybe in season 2 to go up even higher, depending on if they buff him or nerf him, but he's like right in the middle, if I'm being honest. Now we have Wolverine, and Wolverine, the first duelist that's going to go in the S tier. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this. I'll probably leave it like that. Wolverine is he's really good, man. There's a reason why he's the most banned character in the game. He does tons of damage. He melts everybody. He can be impossible to kill sometimes. He's overall a great hero, and it's so funny because he was like, everyone thought he was like the worst character in the game in season 0. Now he's getting banned every single game you play. So not a lot needed to be said here. He is an absolute menace to deal with, and if you actually are able to go against the Wolverine in your games without him getting banned, you're gonna have a problem. Up next we have Storm, and she's still an S tier hero. She's not as OP as she was in the beginning of season 1. She's still banned a lot, which I get, but honestly I don't think she needs to be as banned as she was before. She still does great amounts of damage. She's annoying to deal with. Her ultimate now, especially with Human Torch, can be an absolute game changer. Overall, she's a great hero. Not as crazy as she was in the beginning of season 1, but still an S tier. Up next, we have Magik, and for me, she's like on the edge of A going into S. Honestly, she's probably going to move up by the time this video ends, but man, she's really good. Her combos are insane. She has insane carry potential. Obviously, she's benefiting from the meta. You're going to have more dive teammates to help you out and take the pressure off of you. You do get countered by Namor, Bucky, and all those guys, but she is pretty good even with those counters. Overall, I think she has almost no weaknesses, and she can be a menace to deal with. There's a reason why all those memes on TikTok are of her being a horror village. She's absolutely terrifying to go against. So, yeah, you know what? I'm just going to do it. She's going to go in the S tier behind Storm. I think she's really, really good. Up next is Star-Lord, and man, Star-Lord's having a great Season 1 and Season 1.5. He just got a buff, so he's able to fly a lot longer with his boosters. His kit's amazing. He's able to dodge any attack you throw at him. He can do AoE damage with his Reaper ability. His ultimate is auto-aim, so you can just really turn your brain off and just kill everyone on the team. He does great damage. Overall, I think I'm going to do this. I think I'm going to put him right there behind the Thing. He has the chance to be at the S tier by the end of Season 1.5. But right now, I'm going to leave him in the A tier. He has to show that he's going to pop off this season. It's going to happen. Just watch. But I think A is a good spot for him. Now we have Psylocke. And Psylocke's a weird one because in Season 0, she was like probably like right here. Now, I would put her like maybe here. I think she's good now. I think she's good. Her ult got destroyed by the nerf. It doesn't do as much damage as it did before, but she does great burst damage. She's in that dive meta, so she's going to benefit from that. The triple support is starting to die out, so that's going to help as well. If you have a Loki on the other team, you're going to have a big problem using Psylocke. He counters her completely, but she does good damage. Her kit's good. Her ult did get destroyed, but overall, she's still a pretty good hero, so I'm going to put her in the B tier. Next up is Winter Soldier, and man, he's good, man. He's good. He counters like everything. He's good against the dive characters. He's good against the tank characters. His ultimate is
one of the best in the game and one of the most satisfying to pull off if you're able to get it over and over and over again. He has an overall great kit. Like I said, counters a lot of what the enemy team is trying to do. He does tons of damage. Honestly, I'm expecting a massive buff, or sorry, a massive nerf when Season 2 comes out. But right now, he is a really, really good DPS and definitely belongs in the A tier. Up next is Hela, and bro, she's still so good, bro. I'm gonna put her at on the third best character right now in the game. She's just cracked, man. She is like this sniper who is hit scan, so wherever you click, the bullet's gonna go, or dagger in this case. And man, she just tears through everybody. She's easy to use. She does tons of damage. Her ultimate's really good. She has great survivability. I don't know where else you would put her, to be honest. She's probably top 3 best character in the game, if I'm being honest. She doesn't get banned a lot on console. I noticed that. I play on PS5, so we don't really ban her a lot. And I think it's because she's a lot better on PC, because obviously you have the mouse. But still, man, she is probably one of the best DPSs in the game and an obvious S tier. Up next is Namor, and Namor, he is so good. He is the anti-dive character. Like, he just absolutely shuts that down. And with the way the meta is shifting, he's going to start getting banned a lot. So, if he's not getting banned, you have to pick Namor. He's going to shut all those guys down. But, besides the dive counter, his kit is really good. His whale does tons of damage. He's a great DPS. And when you mix him with a Luna Snow, he is probably the best character in the game. That extra octopus makes a big difference. So, I like where he is now. Namor is definitely one of the best DPSs in the game. Now we have Squirrel Girl. And I like Squirrel Girl. I think she's good. I think she definitely belongs in the A tier. She goes down a bit in the higher elos, but she's pretty good in the low elos. She does tons of damage. She can be really annoying to the Hawkeyes, the Helas, and Namor too, honestly. Not good against the flyers, which is tough because there's been a lot of really good flying characters this season with Storm, Iron Man, and the newest one, Human Torch. But when you get her in a convoy map, especially in tighter situations, she can destroy the entire team, especially with her ultimate. When it got buffed, it became one of my favorites to use because it gets you like a triple kill almost every time. So, very short and sweet. Squirrel, I like her a lot. Belongs on the A tier, right above B tier though. Okay, so now we have the newest duelist in the game, and that's the Human Torch. And if I'm being honest, man, he's a little disappointing. And I think the main issue with him is that he's super slow. Like, I feel like you're not able to move around with him as much as a flying character. That's a little weird. He's like a sitting duck out there sometimes. But his damage is good. I like his kit. I think his kit is pretty solid. I feel like he's better on domination maps than convoy maps, especially if you have your ultimate. You can just throw it all over the point, and it's almost impossible to stand on it without getting damaged. Overall, though, he's good. It's just that he's very hard to maneuver, or just he has a lack of mobility, and that's a very big hindrance to his kit. But besides that, he's okay. And our final duelist is going to be Scarlet Witch, and I still think she's a D tier character. She's super easy to use, pretty good in the low elos. No one uses her in the high elos. She could be really good against the flying characters though. Like a Storm, an Iron Man, or Human Torch are going to have a pretty big problem with her. But I just feel like she doesn't do too much. Like, I know she got a couple buffs, but she's okay. I mean, I wouldn't really want to see a Scarlet Witch on my team if I'm playing my ranked games. But if you're starting out the game, she's not a bad character to use. But honestly, she's only above Mr. Fantastic and Black Widow for me. Okay, so our first strategist is going to be Jeff. And Jeff, for me, is going to move out of the F tier, and I'm going to put him in the D tier. And I'm actually going to move Mr. Fantastic with Black Widow in the F tier. So for Jeff, it's funny because he's a strategist, but a lot of people are using him more as a duelist. So in the high elos, you pick him, and your whole objective is to go into the back line where the enemies can't see you and just pump them full of damage. And his spitballs can do quite a bit of damage. And if you mix him with a Luna Snow, he does even more damage and can slow his enemies. If you're doing this, you're primarily running a 3 support team where he doesn't need to be healing as much, because although he can heal, you want his main focus to be doing damage. But the rest of his kit is still good. He does good heals if you're focusing your guys. It can be tough to get the right numbers, especially if you have other supports on your team, but he can hang as a, one-off duelist. But when you have a strategist who his best trait is doing damage, you can't put him that high. So I think the D tier is a good spot for him. Up next is Loki, and I think I'm going to put him at the top of A tier, right in front of the thing. So with Loki, he does a lot of great things. His heal numbers are really good. His damage numbers are really good. If you know where to put your clones, you can be an absolute menace. And his runes that he puts up that makes you invincible is really cracked, and it could save you from a lot of different attacks. So I don't think there's anything wrong with Loki. I think if you're picking him, he's one of the easiest characters if you want to solo carry yourself up the ranks. All around really good hero. I think the top of A tier is a great spot for him. Alright, next up is Invisible Woman, and without a doubt, she is one of the best characters in the game, and probably top 2 healer in the game right now. So, obviously her healing output is really good, but her kit is very, very good and well balanced. She can do tons of different things. She can deal with dive characters, she can run away and heal herself, she can heal you from a distance, she can set up your team for easy kills by pushing or pulling enemies away from you or towards you. She's overall just a really good hero, and her ultimate is one of the best in the game. Anyone inside is invisible to anyone outside, and you're constantly getting healed while it's going on. So definitely one of the better heroes in the game. Next up is Adam Warlock, and he took a bit of a jump. He was around maybe down here. Now I would say he's in the B tier, probably in front of Psylocke, behind Captain America. So Adam Warlock, he's known because he does tons and tons of damage as a healer. If he hits you with his headshots, you're gonna die, right? Almost like Hela. Obviously not as good, but it's there. His healing is good. He can't heal with a primary fire. He has to use an ability to heal you, and the cooldown can be a bit of a problem, so you have to manage it, but it does good heals. Your soul bond can be a really good ability if you know when to use it. You can't just use it the moment you walk out of the gate. You have to know when to pop it. His ultimate, while it's good, it's not on the same level as a Luna Snow, Cloak and Dagger, or Invisible Woman. But if timed correctly, that revive can change the tide of an entire fight. So if you have a good Adam Warlock on your team, your chances of winning are pretty high. And just off of that, I think he belongs in the B tier. When Season 2 comes around, he'll probably be a lot higher. Next up is Cloak and Dagger, and they're going to go from arguably one of the top characters in the game to a pretty good character. I would put them in the A tier. So they still do really good heal numbers. Obviously, when you're Dagger, you have the auto aim, and you're able to throw your bubble and your wall of light that heals you. And when you're Cloak, you have the Terror Cape, which does tons of damage, and you're able to basically go invisible and dodge any ability in the game. So their kit is really good. This is my main. This is what I used to get all the way up to Diamond 1. It sucks. The ultimate, it did get hit hard. It got nuked, right? It doesn't stack anymore. It doesn't heal the same amount, but it's still pretty good. And they do move a lot faster now, which I do appreciate because, man, sometimes I felt like I was in my ult for 30 seconds just trying to get around. But with the nerf added, I can't put them in the S tier anymore. I have to move them down to the A tier. But they're still one of the best healers in the game. Up next is Rocket. And, man, a lot of people love Rocket, man. I'm going to put him... I think Cloak and Dagger are a tier above him? I do. I think I'm going to put him in the B tier at the top, though. So, obviously, Rocket gets a lot of great heals, right? His gadgets are pretty cool. He has the team up with Punisher and Winter Soldier that can be really big. And he has the revive that, is a pretty big deal. It brings someone back. But it doesn't do too much. Obviously, he can heal you just by shooting the balls around, and that's how you get 30,000 heals a game with him. He steals ult charge from his teammates. His ultimate while it's good, right? Like, it's good when you're in the middle of a team fight. You want a damage boost to be able to kill the rest of the team. But if you ask me, would you rather have a Rocket ult or a Luna Snow ult? I'm not picking Rocket any single time. It's going to be Luna every time. So he is a good healer. He's probably one of the best, honestly, right now. But it's just that when you get up higher, it's a weird pick to have. Like, you want people who are more, I guess, he's more situational, you know? Like, he doesn't have that type of sustained healing that the other guys do. So while he's good at healing, he's very simple, and I'm going to put him at the top of B tier. Up next is Mantis, and I feel like Mantis took a bit of a break during the first half of Season 1. She was really good in Season 0. She was okay in the first half of Season 1. Now I think she's in a good spot. I'm going to put her right next to Cloak and Dagger in the A tier. So her kit's pretty good. She's good against dive characters. Like, her sleep is really good against dive characters, so that's a plus. Just like Adam Warlock, she doesn't heal with her primary fire. She has to use an ability in order to heal. But she does great numbers. Her ult is pretty good. Not on the same level as Luna Snow or Invisible Woman, but it's pretty good. And her movement speed is also a really good touch because, you know, a lot of characters in this game are slow. So it's good that she can get there quick. And her passive with Adam Warlock is also really good. The last thing you want to deal with is you kill the healer and then she's back 2 seconds later, you know? So, good character. Not as OP as she was in Season 0, but she's better than she was in the first half of Season 1, so I'm going to put her in the A tier. And finally, the last hero to cover is Luna Snow. And we are saving the best, not the best, one of the best for last. I'm probably gonna do this. If I'm being honest, I'm probably gonna do this and then this. For now, I'll probably move them in a second. But Luna Snow is definitely the best healer in the game. Her numbers every single time are just insane. She has the best ult in the game, not counting Loki because he gets all the ults. She puts up great numbers. She can do a good amount of damage. She has her stun, which could be really useful. There's a reason why she's banned, just like Wolverine, almost every game, and it's because of how good she is, and she has her team up with Namor, so that's a big one. But she, in my opinion, is definitely the best healer in the game. And now I'm going to move around some people. Like, I'm going to switch Hulk in the back. I think I put Magneto a little too high. I think I'm actually going to put him down a tier into the A tier. I like how that looks. Actually, now I like how that looks. This is fine for me. I think this is good. Rocket, Thor, Groot. I'm actually gonna move Groot back quite a bit there. That's fine. You know what, Iron Man, you're gonna go down into the C tier, top of C tier. And these are fine, and that's fine. So this is the final list that I have here. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I have some more content coming soon, so keep an eye out for that. But until then, leave a like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.